Good morning. Our service this morning contains a reading from 1 Thessalonians. And it's a reading where Paul, who is writing this letter to the church at Thessalonica, is telling them to rejoice always, to pray without ceasing, to give thanks, to be grateful in all circumstances, because this is the will of God. Now, it's worth pointing out that Paul was writing this letter from prison. We're pretty sure he was writing this letter from prison. And ancient prisons were not like modern prisons. The modern prisons are like staying at the Hilton compared to ancient prisons, where you might be stuck in a cave with a guard outside, and you don't get food unless someone you know who is a friend brings it to you. You don't get anything unless someone you know, a friend, brings it to you. The guards are there to keep you in, not to keep you comfortable, or safe, or sanitary, or fed. And this is the man who's telling a church who's having issues, because they all have issues, rejoice always. And he's writing from an ancient prison in which he knows he could die. He's sleeping on bare rock. He's eating whatever his friends think to bring to him, and drinking water only when his friends come to visit and provide it. And he's telling them from that situation, rejoice always. Now, rejoice isn't a word we use all the time. We're coming up into Christmas season. We do use rejoice a bit more often during Christmas. But if I were going to translate rejoice into words we typically use in the world, I would say, be happy out loud. Be visibly happy. Share your happiness with other people. Rejoice. That's what it means to rejoice. Rejoice always means share the joy that you have all the time with other people. Pray without ceasing. Be grateful wherever you are. He says, give thanks in all circumstances. That means wherever you go, whatever you do, be grateful. And we do get this reading in the run-up to Christmas. But that doesn't mean that it only holds true for us late November, early December. Now, it's true that when we read ancient documents, we got to decide, does this apply to me? And does it need to be altered or interpreted or changed or updated in order to apply to me? And sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is no. And certainly, we need to go a step further in interpretation when we are reading other people's mail, which is what 1 Thessalonians is. We are reading other people's mail. And we have to really ask ourselves, does this answer not just answer an ancient problem that they had, but does it answer a modern problem that I have? Maybe yes, maybe no. And does it answer the problem I'm having right now? Because most of us have at least one problem all the time. And the answer is maybe yes, and maybe no. But when Paul is writing to the church at Thessalonica from prison and telling them to be happy out loud with other people always, and to pray without ceasing, to constantly be in a prayer relationship with God. And wherever they are, whatever they do, to be grateful. To be people who are grateful. An attitude of gratitude? Maybe. But not just the attitude. To actually be grateful. These are life lessons learned at great cost. And I think that they are applicable to more than just one small answer to one small problem. They are applicable to all of us, everywhere, all the time. And lest we think, no, my life is too difficult to experience joy. You know, Paul's the one giving the advice, and Paul had a really difficult life too. He did give this advice while sitting in prison. Unless we think we have nothing for which to be grateful. Our world has crashed down upon us. We have nothing to be grateful. I bet there's something. You're watching this video, so you have a device and you have internet access. Or you have someone whose device you can borrow, an internet access that you can find. So there's that. There's always something. But sometimes we do have to look for it. It's a practice, which means you're less good at it at first, and then you can get better at it if you continue. And so I ask you today and this week, what do you have in this world that you can be happy about? And share with other people. What do you have in this world that you can be grateful for? And remember that and dwell there wherever you go. And when it comes to praying without ceasing, praying without stopping, various people have interpreted this in different ways throughout the years. Some people think you need to get up at 2 a.m. and pray. I'm not quite sure that's it. And not just because I don't want to get up at 2 a.m. and pray. Because I often get up at 2 a.m. and I end up praying. But that's besides the point. I think praying always might actually mean becoming the master of your own mind, so that the conversation that keeps going on in your head is actually an ongoing conversation with God, which is definitely a whole different sermon. Amen.